We continue again. We've been discussing about made for value, and we have said many things. We're still in that discussion. We've been considering when something is made for value under the same topic. When something is made for value, we have mentioned about four principles or four matters about a thing that is made for value. And something is made for value. We mentioned number one, there's need to understand the mind and the nature of the maker, so as to be able to use and engage that thing properly, especially according to the expectation of the mind, the intent, the objective, the goal of the one who made the thing for value. Very important. Number two, we said we must understand that there are investments to make anything. There are investments that went into making anything for value. There are investments. There are many things that are stuffed into that thing. Very important for us to take note of that. But the number three thing is that a system of keeping that thing is great. There's an established protocol system around that thing to ensure its security. Its security must be assured in order for it to retain the value it has. Very important for us to take note of this as well. We said many things around it. Number four, we said there is someone responsible for anything that is made for value. There's someone responsible. There's someone responsible. There's someone responsible for it. And we divided the system of responsibility into two. Number one, there's somebody responsible for keeping it, and there's somebody responsible for using it. When there's failure of either way, there will be the devalue of that thing. There will be devalue of that thing. Now, maybe we'll continue from here, that if there is there is lapse on either way, there will be a challenge. And that's one of the grounds for the two parties in any system of engagement of a thing, where there are those who have interest in ensuring that the thing is kept in use and in its valuable frame. Whereas there are some people who are interested in using it up and destroying it. That's always the two parties to a thing. When there are no mutual minds to deal in understanding of a thing such that it retains its value and it lasts. That's why on the earth now, there is still these two parties. Are people who are interested in ensuring that the earth is corrupted. There are people working to ensure that the earth doesn't serve the purpose of this value. And if you are part of them, that's why you need this message. That's why you need to listen to this. That's why you need to come into this understanding that the earth is a value-based habitat made by the one who himself is the value. and who has made the earth a value-based habitat, who seeks that everyone on earth will enjoy and derive value in the engagement of the earth, and in turn be responsible in the keeping of the earth. In the keeping of the earth. We will understand, we will study more the earth itself. We study the earth. We study the earth. And we will be short. Don't let me open that up now. We study the earth. Study the earth. Very important. So the system of responsibility is what sustains the value for which anything is made. We must come to terms with this. We must come to terms with this. Don't have any motive in the engagement of anything except the motive that is framed from the mind of the one who made the earth and everything on the earth good. So go back to the mind of the one who made everything on earth and adjudged them good, so that you can see the goodness in everything you engage, and you can enjoy the good of those things, and even continue to make good things out of the things around you. I pray God will help us. Now, another point which we'll continue with today is that there are laws to deal with anything that is made of value. There are laws. There are laws. You must understand that where there is no law, there is no effective governance. Nigeria is in this chaos today because we don't have a working constitution. Nigeria as it is now has lost its value, despite all the abundant resources that you make are valuable, because there are no laws that govern our systems. The systems we built are without principle, coherent principle that supports nature, especially of the one by whom the earth is made. I know we mentioned it last time. For anything to work, there must be an agreement between the responsibility of the one who keeps the thing and the responsibility of the one who engages the thing. And if there will be agreement, there must be terms of references. It is those terms of references that become the law that brings the two parties together, that form their contractual basis of engagement. So there must be laws that deals with the system of engagement of anything that is made for value. We don't have any working constitution in our nation. So anything goes. So we can't derive value from the abundant resources in our nation. And the same way, that's the way it cascades down. That's the way it trickles down. That's the way it flows. For anything that is made for value, there must be laws that guides its engagement. And that's why God, the Bible says, and the Lord put the man in the garden and told him, he said unto him, out of all these trees you must eat, except this one. There are laws that guide anything that is made for value. There are laws that guide the engagement of the earth. There are laws. Because that's what define the lines and boundaries of responsibility around either the keeper of the thing or the engager of the thing. There are laws. There are laws. Many of us, we don't want to read Deuteronomy chapter 28, the part of the curse. We don't want to read it. We only claim verse 1 to 14. But when God was talking to the people of Israel, for example, when he was talking to the king in chapter 17 of Deuteronomy, when he talked to them about the fact that when you want to choose a king, what he told them is that the king, the man that will be appointed a king, he must copy. He said he must take a copy of the book of the law, which means those Torah, the 5 books of Moses, where we'll find the laws, the first 10 commandments, where we'll find other laws that govern the community, that govern the health, that govern the relationships, that govern their engagement of the resources there in the land. So he gave them laws. Now, where I'm going is this. He said he would take the book of the law from the priests. Then he will make a copy. He will write it out. No, then he will write it out by his own hand. You see, the idea is this. You see, God is the omniscient. I know you agree with me that, I remember that anytime I'm not in the class, when they have taught a subject, maybe due to one reason or the other, I wasn't in the class, by whatever reason, I missed the class. And so I was not in the class to write the notes while I was in secondary school. Anytime I'm not in the class to write the notes by my hand, when I try to read it, it doesn't sync. It doesn't sync. I know somebody will testify to this. You see, what God said is, let's go and check the place. Chapter 17. That when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother, but he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord has sent to you, you shall not henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he is seated upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him. He shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. And he shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law, all the word of this law, and these statutes, to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandments to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Now, so he should take a copy and write it with his own hand. Probably the reason why many of the kings in Israel, they strayed, was because if you read the Bible, if you are very familiar with the Bible very well, you see that there's always someone appointed as secretary to the king. Secretary to the king. I tend to believe that these are the people who help them, even though they will fulfill the ritual of writing the copy of the law for their personal engagement. But since the secretary is there, he just do the photocopy, the copy of the thing, and give to them. But like I mentioned, there's a way when you write a thing by your own hand, it sinks, because as you are writing, you are reading. Now, where I'm going that brought me into this matter is this. Many of us will read Deuteronomy 28, and we tend to just read chapter 1, verse 1 to 14. We try to leave verse 15 to 68 so that we don't see the evil. But the Lord was talking to the king, so that he will keep all the words of this law. You see, all the words of this law. So it is all those things that you will see in the Torah that become this law. For anything that you enjoy value, there is something that guards the operation. There are laws that regulate its operation. You see, because we don't read that part that look like us, we don't remember to fear God. And so we easily lose the blessing. Do you know that when you take chloroquine, if you know your body that you are prone to malaria and you become sick, there are two things that will make you remember to take care of yourself so that you don't fall sick again. First is the bitterness of the queen thing that you took. The bitterness. If you remember that thing was bitter, and you will adjust in keeping yourself. The second thing is the pain that you suffered in the course of breaching the law that governs your body. What's the implication of what I've just said? You see, if you don't remember, if you don't read those parts that talk about curse, you won't be able to fear God. And then you won't be able to even keep those blessings you are claiming. But when you read everything, you will be able to remember to keep the principles that supports the wholesome and healthy operation of that thing. In this case, the earth. And what you don't regard can never last with you. What you don't respect, you lose easily. The life you don't have regard for, you lose it. Your freedom that you don't cherish, you throw away. Your honor that you disregard, and somebody will help you trash it because you don't follow the honor, the laws that guard your honor. Let's leave that. Another point is this. When something is made for value, there are interests on it. There are interests in the engagement. Do you know that the interests in anything is what appreciates the value of a thing? The interests in a thing. In fact, I tend to believe in order to, you know, when we read that God knows the end from the beginning, many people have accused God, saying, when God knew that man will fall, why did he allow? And he's omnipotent. Why did he allow events to go that way? You see, this is the matter. This is one of the answers. If there are no interests, there won't be price and value for a thing. If there are no interests, there won't be competition. There won't be agitation that will make that thing extremely valuable to be desired and to have to pay price to have it. But you see, for us as man, we need to be able to to agree with the mind of God so that God can give us the earth, so that we can derive value from the earth. There are interests in anything that is made of value. There are interests, all manner of interests, favorable interests, unfavorable interests, selfish interests, corporate interests. One is better than the other. For example, selfish interest is what is driving many to seek to destroy the earth. Selfish interest is what is driving many to take the life of many others. Selfish interest is what is making many to enslave other people. Selfish interest is why many are killing others for positions of power. Nothing more. If it is truly for service, there won't be need to kill to take a senatorial position. Selfish interest. There are different divergent interests in what many do, in what we do on earth, but it directly impacts on the earth, because altogether the aggregate frame of interest of many of us divides the frame of value of the earth into two, either for good or for evil. It is this matter of interest that parts people to be sons of darkness or sons of light. It is the issue of interest that determines the forces at work at each time, whether the force of good or the force of evil on earth. It is the issue of interest that divides the citizens of the nations to be good citizens or bad citizens. It is the issue of interest that divides whether the nation moves forward or it becomes the poverty capital of the whole world. Whether selfish interests, where some people gain at the expense of others, or corporate interests. For anything of value, there is always interests on it. There's always interests. And it is these interests that makes the value of that thing to increase much more. Many foreign interests, they are jostling for Nigeria and Africa to take her over. For all these divergence of interests. Anything that's made of value and made for value has interests on it. Where is your interest? Are you for light or you are for darkness? Are you for good or evil? Are you for the greatness of Nigeria or for the continued dilapidation and frustration of Nigeria? By what you do, by your day-to-day interests. The last point I want to mention here is that there is always a skill of using anything that is made of value. It's always a skill. There are skills to engaging anything of value. You see, it is on these I will strongly recommend that there is need to revisit our education. As a matter of fact, we are considering a training for those who are in the education sector so that we revisit the idea of value education. And we'll make an announcement on that very soon. Make an announcement on that very soon. The reason why the earth is not used in the way that shows that God made it for value, as it were, and why the value derivable on the earth is not maximized by everyone, because it tilts. It's not balanced due to the wicked works. It's because we don't have holistic skill that helps our engagement, proper and appropriate engagement of the earth. Anything made for value has an educational framework attached to it. There must be skill that is learned. There must be skill in its engagement, and the skill would now evolve the need for education. To evolve the need for education. I was hearing in my spirit, I think maybe last week. Is it last week or last 2 weeks? Value re-education. Value re-education. And as I sat down to engage and meditate on that, on those two words, I had insight. So there's need for us to be properly educated. So as these are coming out to us, there are matters of re-education necessary for us to engage the earth in the way that will bring prosperity, progress, and peace to every one of us. For everything that is made for value, there are skills attached to engaging it. I pray God will help us. I pray God will bless us. I pray God will give us understanding as we consider these matters for our good and for the good of our nation and even the earth. Thank you. God bless you.